Well, good afternoon, everybody. After 18 months of an empty Kilburn Hall, how wonderful it is to be together in person and to experience that marvelous music and just to be together. It's fantastic to see you here. While I know they are not in the room, I want to thank the members of the Eastman Wind Ensemble and Professor Mark Scatterday for returning to Rochester early to prepare that performance of festival music by Stephen Daniel, our alumnus. That's one of 14 fanfares that was written to commemorate our celebration of the centennial, which begins now. And so, bravo to them again. I want to welcome our new students, our second-year students who were with us online last year but are in Rochester for the first time now, and all of our students, faculty members, and staff members. We are not yet out of the COVID woods, but I am confident this is going to be a truly remarkable year. On stage with me today, I'm really pleased to welcome and introduce the Reverend Denise Yarborough, who's the Director of Religious and Spiritual Life at the University of Rochester, Donna Brink-Fox, our Senior Associate Dean of Academic and Student Affairs, Sarah Payray, our Interim Provost, and Sarah Mangelsdorf, the President and G. Robert Whitmer Jr. University Professor. I now invite Reverend Yarborough to the podium to offer an invocation.
Consider these words from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. The only language that seems to be compatible with the wonder and mystery of being is the language of music. Music is more than just expressiveness. It is rather a reaching out toward a realm that lies beyond the reach of verbal propositions. Listening to great music is a shattering experience, throwing the soul into an encounter with an aspect of reality to which the mind can never relate itself adequately. Such experiences undermine conceit and complacency and may even induce a sense of contrition and a readiness for repentance. I am neither a musician nor an expert on music, but the shattering experience of music has been a challenge to my thinking on ultimate issues. I spend my life working with thoughts, and one problem that gives me no rest is, do these thoughts ever rise to the heights reached by authentic music? Let us pray. O creative spirit, lover of beauty, creator of sound and song, be ever present with the teachers and students at the Eastman School of Music who seek through their music to shatter human experience and throw souls into an encounter with reality beyond the mind's grasp. Grant to them through their music glimpses of the transcendent and of divine creativity. Bless the Eastman School of Music at the University of Rochester, that it may be a lively center for sound learning, new discovery, and the pursuit of wisdom. And grant that those who teach and those who learn may find themselves in the presence of the great mystery that is the source of all truth and beauty. We offer this prayer and thanksgiving for your gracious creativity and generosity as you endow those who teach and study here with the precious gift of music and song, through which they offer to our world an exquisite experience of the holy and the sacred. Amen.
Thank you so much for those really wonderful words. As everyone knows, the last 18 months presented some of the most challenging circumstances any of us have ever experienced previously in higher education. I'm convinced that not only has the University of Rochester weathered the pandemic storm, our university is emerging stronger and more unified than ever. thanks to the unwavering leadership of our president, Sarah Mangelsdorf. President Mangelsdorf has demonstrated for all of us leadership qualities of integrity, openness, empathy, and the ability to make difficult decisions. I am so grateful for her genuine love of music and her appreciation of the Eastman School of Music, and I am very honored to introduce her now. Please welcome President Sarah Mangelsdorf.
As Jamal said, it is truly wonderful to be here. We missed this event last year. And so good afternoon to the class of 2025 and the class of 2024, who we didn't get to welcome in quite this way last year. So welcome to the University of Rochester and University of Rochester's Eastman School of Music. And as those of you who've been here a year know, you join a very special university community of scholars, researchers, artists, educators, and elsewhere in the university, healers, who strive to live what we call our Meliora values. It means that we are learning, discovering, and creating, trying to make the world ever better. With us today are a group of immensely talented professors and staff who over the next few years will open your eyes, inspire you, and share their academic and artistic passions. These scholars and mentors are not the only formative relationships you will build here at the Eastman School of Music. The connections you make with your classmates will last a lifetime. And indeed, our commencement speaker at Eastman's commencement last spring, who was an Eastman grad, talked about that and how many of her most important professional relationships in her adult life all sort of connected back, and friendships, and her husband connected back to Eastman. It was very funny. This isn't just, you're just not here together for a few years. You will be together in one way or another for the rest of your lives. For this year's class, who've just gotten here, this is quite an extraordinary class. A third of you are dual degree students. The domestic students come from 27 states. Someday I'd like to say all 50. You got to work on recruiting from the Dakotas, I see. A third of you are international students hailing from China, Taiwan, Germany, Macau, the Philippines, and you are our most diverse class ever. So along with your record-breaking diversity and some truly inspirational backgrounds, you also bring the perseverance that saw you endure the first wave of the coronavirus pandemic. But you weathered that storm, you performed in your high school classes and in your auditions, and you delivered compelling applications. Resilience is a quality you all share, and you will be able to draw on as you embark on your University of Rochester experience. Central to that experience should be your active participation in the culture of excellence, integrity, and mutual respect. As our country reckons with issues of equity and inclusion, it's important that you know we are a university deeply committed to these principles. That doesn't mean we're perfect or that we have answers to all the world's problems. We don't. But we are guided by our Meliora values, and it does mean we are always actively working to make our campus, our community, and our world ever better. The university's commitment to excellence and equity has led to some of the most consequential scholarship, teaching, healthcare, artistic creations that the world has ever known, and you are part of that now. You have come to Rochester as Eastman students in very interesting times. COVID is affecting almost every aspect of our daily lives, including these masks, but you've already begun to figure out how to deal with it responsibly and with consideration for your fellow students, the faculty and staff. The pandemic poses unique challenges to Eastman students, and this is something that Dean Rossi and I have discussed in Dean's Council. How do you do certain kinds of classes last year? How do you do ensembles socially distanced and so forth? But I was very impressed how Dean Rossi and the faculty here and staff all worked to do what they could to make the experience as normal as possible while still keeping it in a safe environment for you to learn and create. So this continues to be important. We wish we didn't have to tell you to wear masks inside and keep washing your hands and keeping your instruments clean, but yes, that's what you need to do. So, because it's very important that we all do it. And when we finally get COVID under control, the world will be looking to musicians like you to bring us out of these COVID doldrums. In fact, I was often listening to streaming concerts from Eastman School of Music last year as a way to kind of try to cheer myself up during some very bleak times. The streaming concerts weren't quite the same as being in person, but they were better than nothing. Music really is very healing for all of us. In all the ways that matter, your music will bring people back together and reteach us what it is to be human. Through Eastman's principles of artistry, scholarship, community, and leadership, you will take music forward and you will shape the future of the performing arts. It's almost certainly what George Eastman had in mind 100 years ago when the local millionaire and photography pioneer provided the funds and vision to create the Eastman School of Music. And this year we celebrate Eastman's gift that has given the world so much wonderful music and scholarship. Throughout the year, we'll host a series of events to commemorate the school that has been in existence since 1921. I'm sure that a century later, Eastman would be very proud to see how the school has grown and the caliber of students it continues to attract. He'd also be proud to know that being an Eastman student is not just about skill, dexterity, or having a great ear. It also calls for a very special kind of determination. Many of you will be dual majors and spend time here and on the university's River campus. Sometimes it'll be a challenge just to get from one campus to the other in time for class or rehearsals. But it will also be a tremendous opportunity for you to get to know the surrounding community and build connections with students and faculty across the university. The diversity of experience and thought will make your time here vibrant and exciting. I encourage you to enrich that experience by exploring the city of Rochester. Rochester and its surrounding community is truly a wondrous place with transformative history and tremendous natural beauty. The University of Rochester is a cornerstone of the community's economy, its primary healthcare provider, and a leading resource in educating its children. And you may find that incorporating the city into your academic passions will help you find your own place in the world. To borrow a term popularized by one of Rochester's most famous residents, Frederick Douglass, follow your North Star, the thing that excites you, the thing that you love. Through your studies, explore the ideas and questions that inspire you, and we'll be here with you every step of your journey. In the coming years, we hope you'll embrace the Meliora values that make the University of Rochester an exceptional university. I wish you all the very best of success and welcome you to the University of Rochester Eastman School of Music. Congratulations.
On March 3, 2020, Eastman sponsored a gender equity conference. And I just want to point out that in my 37 years of coming to these convocations, I have never seen so much women leadership on the stage. My privilege today is to introduce 4 new faculty members. I'm going to ask them to stand when I read their individual bios and remain standing until all 4 are introduced, and then we invite your applause. The first new faculty member this year is Julie Beauregard, Assistant Professor of Music Teaching and Learning. She's a vocalist and percussionist who taught pre-K to 12 music for 12 years and has expertise in early childhood, elementary, and high school general music. She previously taught at Oregon State University, Northwestern University, and the University of Missouri at St. Louis, and in online contexts through Kent State University and Boston University. Dr. Beauregard holds BM, MA, and PhD degrees in music education and an MA in ethnomusicology, all from the Eastman School of Music. As a graduate student, she received both a TA prize for excellence in teaching and the Presser Award for summer research study in Ghana. Her research interests include intercultural music transmission, popular music education, music teacher identity, alternative assessments, embodied knowledge, and music teacher preparation. The second new faculty member is Ji-Young Kim, Assistant Professor of Musicology. Dr. Kim began her music studies in her hometown of Santiago, Chile, and continued in New York City, where she studied piano performance at Manhattan School of Music and musicology, music theory, German history, philosophy, and literature at Columbia University. In her PhD dissertation from Cornell, Dr. Kim explored aspects of embodiment as interpersonal communication in the piano compositions of Robert Schumann and Johannes Brahms. Her research received the Carl Gehringer Scholarship from the American Brahms Society in 2018. In addition to her academic pursuits, she studied historical keyboards with Malcolm Bilson at Cornell. Erica Knapp, instructor of music teaching and learning, is currently a PhD candidate in music education at Michigan State University, and she has taught pre-college music in public schools for 14 years. She earned a master's degree in choral conducting from Central Michigan University and has completed levels 1, 2, 3, and masterclass study in the Orff-Schulwerk approach. A regular clinician for the American Orff-Schulwerk Association, Erica has presented at numerous local, state, regional, national, and international conferences. Her research interests as a doctoral candidate include students with disabilities, creating inclusive spaces, anti-racism, and teacher professional development. And finally, I introduce Jonathan Sauceda, who is the Associate Dean of the Sibley Music Library and Associate Professor of Musicology. He holds a PhD in musicology from the University of North Texas, with research interests in Latin American art and popular musics, and research methods in the performing arts. Dr. Sauceda has shared his research through the Society for American Music, the Association of College and Research Libraries, and the American Musicological Society. He has published in the journals Popular Music and Society and numerous library-specific journals. He served on the board of directors of the Music Library Association and is currently editor of the technical reports and monographs in their Music Librarianship series. Please welcome these 4 new faculty members. It's my pleasure to introduce Sarah Payray. You notice I was the Donna in the valley between the 2 Sarahs. Sarah Payray is interim provost.
I just have to start by saying I'm so excited. I've heard live music in person, the thunderous applause, sharing space with real people. I am so full and excited to be here. I'm excited for all of you. Enough for all of you. Hello, my name is Sarah Payray, and it's a pleasure to be with you here today to mark this wonderful tradition of convocation. It's an opportunity to celebrate and acknowledge our academic careers, from those that are just starting out at Eastman and the University of Rochester, welcome new faculty, to those who are being recognized for their scholarly achievements and contributions to this wonderful enterprise. I can honestly think of no more important time for the arts and the humanities than now, when our nation and the world continue to respond to the ongoing challenges of COVID. because it's in our humanity, how we express and understand ourselves in this world, that make us not only care for one another, but offer value to our lives and personal pursuits. And the pursuit of excellence beats in the hearts of everyone gathered here today. From the students who represent the best and the brightest from around the world to our faculty and administration who embody the Eastman experience and embrace the rich history of the University of Rochester. In your time here, you will likely hear a lot about the spirit of Meliora that fuels the university, and I know President Mangelsdorf mentioned in her remarks. And while Meliora drives us personally to achieve our most ambitious goals, it is a notion of making the world ever better that inspires us across the institution, from the college to the medical center, from the Simon Business School and the Warner School of Education, and right here at the Eastman School, to think beyond ourselves and contribute to our communities where we live, work, and study. For many of you, your academic career begins here, in this moment that we are gathered to share and celebrate together. May today be the start of an incredible academic journey that will stay with you for the years to come. Welcome to Eastman, welcome to Rochester, welcome to the start of your own next chapter in Meliora.
We're learning the technique of mask management. So thank you to Sarah and Sarah for wonderful messages, and welcome to our new faculty members. In your programs are the names of the members of the Eastman Senior Leadership Team and our academic department chairs. I'm so grateful to each person listed here for the leadership roles they played in enabling our school to remain in session last year, to make music in the face of difficult circumstances. Our school is so incredibly well served thanks to the dedication and commitment of these individuals. So I'm going to ask them to stand, and I'm asking you to join me in thanking them for their tremendous work. So, as I said at the outset, it is just truly a thrill to be here in person and to see Kilburn Hall filled once again with members of our community. Last year, President Mangelsdorf and I and Donna Fox and I think Denise Yarborough, we gave addresses to an absolutely empty hall, which was like our students giving a recital to an empty hall. It is just so great to be in person. Today marks the start of a 3-semester celebration of the school centennial. It was September 1921 when the first students began to study music on Gibbs Street. While I'm not going to talk very much about our centennial celebration plans right now, I will tell you that a planning committee that has met together for 3 years under the leadership of Professors Sylvie Baudet and Mark Scatterday have planned for events that both celebrate our first 100 years but also launch us forward into our next century. And that's what I want to talk about today. Lessons learned in the past that prepare us for the future. I don't know about you, but I have learned a great many things about music and myself over the last 18 months. And I have many questions about the future. Here's some of what I've learned. Lesson 1, I've learned with absolute certainty that music is essential. I've learned this primarily from our returning students. Your willingness to abide by many challenging COVID-related policies last year was driven by your commitment to keep the school open so you could make music together. When our students were sent home in March 2020, it was the start of 6 months of isolation from other musicians. For the rest of the semester and all of the summer, they did not have the opportunity to join with colleagues to make music. This created an intense desire to be together to make music. Things that we took for granted in the past became precious to us. Playing in orchestras and bands and singing in choirs, getting together with friends to jam, rehearsing with our chamber ensembles, running through a piece with the pianist. All of these things and many others we no longer took for granted last year. Second, I have always believed that the human spirit craved music. But again, this became an unquestionable fact for me personally when I had the opportunity to attend a fabulous concert by the Boston Symphony Orchestra at Tanglewood a few weeks ago, along with thousands of others in attendance. This was the first live performance I attended since March 6, 2020, when Eastman performed the remarkable War Requiem by Benjamin Britten to a full Eastman theater before our halls went silent. As I sat and wrapped attention to the performance at Tanglewood, like never before, I felt as though the music washed over me and that my very soul was being nourished. Until that moment, I almost forgot how much I needed music in my life. Which is an aside, I want to tell you that 2 days ago, I received a package in the mail, unknown what it was. So I opened it up, and I brought it here. And a friend sent me a t-shirt, and I just thought, this is my new favorite shirt. So it says, "A day without music wouldn't kill me, but why risk it?" Life is good. A third lesson is that I've come to appreciate the possibilities afforded by technology, including the incredible reach of the internet to share music. In talking with one of Eastman's most distinguished alumni, Mark Volpe, who just retired as the CEO of the Boston Symphony, BSO Online attracted 3.4 million viewers last year. That's the equivalent of about 2,000 live performances. A video of Love Sweet Love, made by a student at Berkeley at the outset of the pandemic, now has more than 2 million views. The ability to share your music in the world has never been more possible. We also learned this past year that we can actually teach and to make music online with others simultaneously. While the software platforms that made this possible were somewhat crude, imagine the progress and improvement that will be made in the coming years. The opportunities this will afford for teaching and making music are boundless. My friends, this is an exciting time to be a musician. First, the world needs music today as much as it ever has throughout the history of humankind. And second, the future is an unknown frontier to be explored. Those who are well prepared to embark on the journey will have a remarkable adventure. So what does it mean to be well prepared for an unknown journey as a musician? I'm going to offer 4 thoughts on this. The first, a spirit of curiosity and a willingness to continually learn and adapt. That's why you're here, to learn and grow. Challenge yourselves to never be content. Keep seeking, keep learning, stay curious throughout your entire lives. One way to expand your musical horizons will be by taking advantage of the remarkable opportunities that lie ahead over the next 3 semesters of our centennial celebration, where we will give the world premieres to more than 50 new compositions. I hope that every one of our students will have the opportunity to interact with a composer as you prepare to perform a new composition for the very first time. In addition, I encourage all of you and all of your classmates to attend as many of the world premieres as possible. If you do, you will experience nearly every ensemble in our school, plus works for solo piano, duos, and a range of chamber ensembles. Within a few days, when you go to the event calendar on Eastman's homepage, concerts that feature centennial performances or in which we are bringing to campus alumni and other guest performers and lecturers, will be marked with a Centennial Event logo. I encourage you to seek these out and to attend as many of these concerts and events as you possibly can. You will remember these forever. Second, I believe being well prepared for your future also involves understanding the skills and technologies that will be required in the professional world. What do you need to know about making a quality recording or video? About developing a strong web presence, about marketing and promotion, about grant writing and fundraising? These courses, along with so many others, are available through the Institute for Music Leadership. Take advantage of these extra musical learning opportunities as you prepare yourselves to become professional musicians. Third, being prepared for the world means also being well-rounded. Explore your interests outside of music. Take advantage of the huge array of courses available in the College of Arts and Sciences on the River campus, as well as in our Humanities department. While these years in college are a time for you to focus intently on your music, it is also a time for you to grow as a person. The courses you take outside of music will shape you as an individual. They can provide perspective to your music, and they can enable you to develop your own unique voice. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, being prepared for the world beyond Eastman means understanding that while the music industry may continually evolve and there will always be new skills to be learned, there are critical elements of music that remain constant. At the core of music lies artistry. And artistry is a combination of communicating a unique and insightful interpretation combined with the technical skills to do so. Being a student at Eastman is your opportunity to push yourselves to become your very best musician. My friends, there is simply no shortcut to developing a gorgeous tone, an impeccable intonation, and flawless technique that is seemingly effortless. These things require many, many long hours of hard work in the practice room. There's no way around it. In addition, interpreting a phrase in a manner that connects with the listener requires understanding the form and structure of the composition, the stylistic components of the period in which the work was written, and something about the composer. Just as there are fundamentals in football that come down to blocking and tackling, and in baseball, it comes down to hitting and fielding, the fundamentals of musicianship come down to tone, technique, intonation, diction, musical interpretation. These things are the quality and substance of your musicianship. Knowing how to promote yourself, while very important, will ultimately be of limited value if the quality of your musicianship is less than exceptional. And having the ability to create a snazzy video is fantastic, but it won't matter if the music on your video is out of tune. Friends, as you continue your studies, remember to focus on those things that are essential to being a musician of quality and substance, and explore and take advantage of as many opportunities as you can to enhance that core. If you do that, I assure you, you will be as prepared as possible to enter that musical frontier that is going to be ripe with opportunities and possibilities. So to all of you, I hope you will experience an absolutely remarkable year in which you learn and grow and create music and memories that will remain with you throughout your lives. Meliora. Thank you. Before introducing our Eisenhart Award winner, I'm going to invite our platform party to head back into the audience because we're going to have some more music. One of the highest honors Eastman awards is the Eisenhart Award for Excellence in Teaching, given annually to a member of the Eastman faculty. This award does not honor the so-called best teacher at the school. This would be impossible. Instead, we identify a faculty member who is not only an unusually effective teacher, but who has contributed significantly to the education of their students as a performer, composer, or leader. Nominations for the Eisenhart Award for Excellence in Teaching come in the form of substantive letters from students and faculty members detailing the reasons why a faculty member ought to be considered for this award. The 2020-21 Eisenhart Award recipient joined the Eastman faculty 45 years ago in 1976, and for almost 5 decades has been recognized as an uncommonly fine musician, a talented and dedicated teacher, and an outstandingly fine person. By his colleagues and students. I'm going to read that again. I just totally bumbled it. Just cut. Let's try that one again. For almost 5 decades, has been recognized as an uncommonly fine musician, a talented and dedicated teacher, and an outstandingly fine person by colleagues and students. Thank you. A former student wrote, "This professor has demonstrated a commitment to teaching excellence to rival no other. When we think of him, the first thing that comes to mind is our community principle of meliora, ever better. He challenged us to look beyond our Eastman bubble, to engage in important dialogues with our communities, our cities, our nation, and our world. He understands that to be good musicians, we must be good people first." The alumnus goes on to describe the professor's teaching style as a perfect storm of energy, compassion, and wisdom. Please join me in honoring the contributions to artistry, scholarship, leadership, and community to Professor of Double Bass, James VanDemark.
Thank you, JMO, for your very gracious introduction. And welcome to all of you, old and new, students, faculty, my colleagues, our distinguished guests. I am honored and humbled to be the recipient of the Eisenhart Award for Excellence in Teaching. In 1976, when Gerald Ford was president, disco was the rage. And perhaps your parents had, alas, not even been born. I joined the faculty of the Eastman School of Music with a sense of awe, excitement, passion, and idealism. Yet most of my colleagues knew then and know now that idealism must remain front and center for each of us, newcomers and veterans alike, to keep this extraordinary institution a hotbed of creativity. This afternoon, I look out and see another group of equally inspiring, passionate, and idealistic group of performers and scholars, each of whom generously passes on those qualities and their dedication to teaching on a daily basis. They are often my most trusted colleagues, friends, and advisors. I must also include those of my former colleagues, and early mentors who are no longer here, but who still hold an indelible place in my own development. I am privileged to join so many of those colleagues who have been recognized with the Eisenhart Award, for those who will be recognized with the Eisenhart Award, and for all of those who are just extraordinary teachers. They are many at this school, and I owe all of you an enormous debt. My other significant debt is, of course, to my students. Many of my colleagues feel similarly, I assure you. Our time spent with each of you has provided innumerable joyous experiences and a wealth of information, insight, and stimulation beyond measure. Our pride in your musical accomplishments is enormous, but so is the incredible satisfaction in seeing your own personal growth and change, witnessing who you will become, and how your idealism paired with your hard work will pave the way for your future. We are more than honored to play even a small role in that incredible journey. This past year, a year like no other, allowed us to see other aspects of our students' character shine so brightly as they repeatedly took a stand for George Floyd, Daniel Prude, for justice, democracy, and equality. Those challenges and others will remain with us, and I look forward to many of you showing the way forward with your commitment, your courage, and your own good trouble, as the late Representative John Lewis said. So one of my incomparable joys in teaching here at Eastman is my daily walk between my studio in Eastman's East Wing and Kodak Hall at the Eastman Theater. Yes, I occasionally tell people that I moved from my second floor studio because I had gotten to be on a first name basis with a few friendly rodents that inhabited my room and the floor. That's all changed this previous year. I mean, you've seen the redecoration, it's quite lovely. But walking between the contemporary chandelier of Dale Chihuly that hangs outside my studio and the remarkable grand chandelier in Kodak Hall, where I was able to hear Nathan Milstein, Vladimir Horowitz, Wynton Marsalis, and John Lewis, I am able to imagine the future inspirational voices that surround us this afternoon in Kilburn Hall. That would be you. Past, present, future. That is the dynamism that can make Eastman such a powerful experience. I began my own journey here at Eastman 45 years ago, and it has been a thrilling and fulfilling ride without exception. Perhaps try for 45 more? Well, the medical center might have to intervene along the way, but then you could have sort of a set date for my retirement. Well, we won't go there. But nonetheless, at whatever day it happens, you're all invited to the party. And however we want to count off 45 years in the future, let's regroup in 2066 and see where your artistry, your creativity, and your idealism have taken you. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate today's recognition and all the opportunities this school can afford all of us. Thank you so much. A few words about the work that I'll perform for you this afternoon. A work entitled Lessons by Grammy-winning trumpeter and composer Nabate Isles, one of Eastman's most distinctive and distinguished graduates. I met Nabate when he was a student here, and we became friends not only for a love of jazz, but for our passionate interests in sports and film. Some of you may know that in addition to performing regularly with the likes of Kristen McBride, Nabate has also had a remarkable career as a sports broadcaster and commentator with his own boxing show, I had to work that in, right? You know that, on Sirius XM and frequent appearances on ESPN. Lessons, with multiple meanings in that title, as you can imagine, was written for me just as Nabate graduated. And if you've ever heard Nabate play, including on this stage at Kilburn, you know that jazz and the blues will make for a very lyrical and reflective work. So now, lessons, Nabate Isles.